invested 50K in 2021 and it's now at 55K. I, 24-year-old male, moved a 401k into a traditional IRA in 2021 with a local financial advisory. It was 50K at the time. I, for the most part, ignored it as that was always the advice I was given. It has now been 4 years and it sits at 54K and some change. I feel like I'm losing valuable years on this money. Should I look for a new advisor, move it to something self-directed? Quick little update on this. The account, ironically, is even further down to 52 after the fees.
Yeah, no, not good. And this is something that happens often. One good thing is that clearly this person knew that it made sense to roll over their money once they left their former employer, because what happens is often is that people forget about these types of accounts.
Yeah.
They leave the money there, they move on somewhere else. So the good news is that this person was smart enough to know he could open up his own IRA, move those funds over. But the other piece of it is very important to understand, like an IRA is just essentially a retirement account to house funds. So you have to know what to invest in. And you also have to ask the question of the advisor, how are you compensated, right? Are you compensated off of AUM, which is assets under management, which means they're taking fees. And as they're taking fees, that's going to, of course, affect the balance. How do you invest these funds? Did they have a conversation with you about, hey, you're relatively young, let's look at maybe something a little bit more aggressive? All of those questions are things that should be asked. So it appears as though maybe he was investing in something that was a little conservative. Clearly, since 2021, if you only have made somewhere around 2,000, either means the fees have been eating up a lot, or you would just invested very conservatively. Good news is clearly he's moved it to a new advisor or a new custodian. Hopefully he will have conversations about transparency, like how are you being compensated? How are these funds being invested?
I want you guys to always understand the fees. Your return is net of those fees. So you want to build wealth and minimize the fees as much as possible. And two, you got to make sure you know what your money is invested in. Make sure you always know what is the expected return. Obviously, returns are not guaranteed. No one can guarantee you any return in the market, but investment portfolios have an expected return. And I certainly am not a believer in set it and ignore it. Look at your statements. Make sure your money is growing. You may have started out 6 years ago feeling, hey, I want to be conservative. And then a year in, when you looked at the returns, you may have said, not that conservative, and realized that maybe it was too conservative, but definitely don't recommend checking in once every 6 years.